What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 2 of season 2. Thanks for the reminder, Mike Walker, of Off the Puck Hockey. I'm your host, Tyler Fines, and you can catch Off the Puck on Rogers TV, Channel 20, every Saturday night at 9 p.m. You can also view our live recordings on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Just follow at Off the Puck Hockey for dates and times to check us out. The NHL is back in full force and some already crazy plays, saves, controversy throughout the league. But before we get into all of this, want to introduce the boys as usual, Mr. Adam Stiles and Mikey Walker. What's going on, boys?
What's going on? Congrats, Mikey Walker, on the 4th.
Thanks. Yeah, it's been quite a roller coaster the last couple of days, but I was telling Adam earlier, he asked if I was going to be on. I said to him, well, when I'm dedicated to something, I'm always there. So here we go.
Yep. So he's referring to Mr. Walker as a brand new dad. I actually had a great joke lined up, but Adam stole my thunder. I was going to say this is baby kid number 9, but 4 is fine. We got a big show lined up tonight.
9, whatever matter.
I know. We're going to start with our round table with the fellas here, talking about the NHL being back. Obviously, we're going to cover the Leafs, kind of the state of hockey where it's at right now. But tonight we got a great guest, former Pittsburgh Penguin and Toronto Maple Leaf, Luca Caputi, will join us here in about 15 to 20 minutes. So pretty excited to have him on. But let's get started with the NHL, fellas. We're back and rocking. How have you enjoyed the hockey so far?
Loving it. Love having it back. And, it's back anywhere you want to see it now, anytime. Love it. And, it's good to see it. A little sloppy, but expected with the no training camps, or the short training camps, I guess, and the no exhibition. But it's awesome to have it back and loving it.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped about it. I've actually been following the Leafies around a little bit. The Canadian division.
Yeah.
Awesome. My Penguins didn't start off too hot, so jump on the wagon early.
Yeah, no, I have a feeling your Penguins are in trouble just watching them play. Crosby and Malkin are still great players, but I said 2 years ago you should have traded Malkin. Not that you didn't want to have him; he's a fantastic player, but I saw the writing on the wall. I just didn't think they were good enough to win, and here we are. Right now, you'll be lucky to make the playoffs. I truly believe that. I don't think you got the player that Pittsburgh's got the. I don't think they got the horses.
You know what? I think the exact same thing. It's kind of. That division is so difficult as it is anyways. And you've got teams like New Jersey that are playing decently.
Yep.
And, the Islanders are a contender.
Awesome.
The Rangers don't look horrible. Like, there's Philly's Philly. Washington's good. Like, there's a lot of options out of that division for sure.
Boston in that one too?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah, and Boston hasn't been playing great. I mean, they lost the other day. They haven't started off very well. To be honest, a lot of the teams outside of Tampa looks gross. Like they're going to be unbelievable.
Yeah.
The Canadian division, Montreal looks 10 times better. Ottawa had a pretty good run with the Leafs, obviously splitting that 1-1. Right, so it's intriguing. Yeah, it's an intriguing start to the season so far.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, Ottawa. A lot of people always count Ottawa. They're gonna be tough. I don't know. I can't see them not finishing in the bottom of the Canadian division because I don't really know who would go. Maybe Winnipeg. I'm not sure, but under them. But I don't know. They're a tough team to play against. And even like they asked Matt Matthews after the game, they asked him, and he said, "Yeah, they're a really tough team, and they're gonna compete all year long."
There's a lot of like I said, and you know what? With the start of the league, there's been some controversy. Florida Panthers, Keith Yandel, obviously, being almost getting sat out and ruining the Ironman streak was something that that didn't sit well with the league. It was close to the situation with Jason Spezza and Mike Babcock, when he was the coach here, where they weren't going to play him, and now they play him and he scores a goal and they absolutely dominate the hockey game. Now, Chicago's not a very good hockey club, but Florida, I mean, they're no. They're not great either. And all of a sudden now Keith Yandel jumps on, he gives them a spark, and it looks like they won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, that would have been a really shitty thing to do. Sit a guy like that especially right off the bat of the season. I mean, you're going through the season or something, and he's really playing some terrible hockey, and you kind of give him the heads up, like, hey, like pick things up, let's get going here. We need more out of you. We're kind of the deal, and he doesn't get going. Then maybe, but when you're right off the bat, you can't do it with a guy like that. He's earned his respect. You can't. That's so disrespectful to do it. I'm glad they didn't do it. And exactly right off the bat, for goal right off the start of the season, like shows his offensive side. He's one of the best defensive defensemen in the league, and I'm just really glad he got to keep that streak going, and I hope to see him break the record. Actually,
I'm pretty sure, did he not, that goal he scored, was it not his 100th?
yeah,
It was too. It was his
So,
100th.
I mean, that's kind of a big deal, too.
yeah, right.
As a defenseman nowadays.
Goals defenseman in the league, that's a pretty big accomplishment in the league, man.
Yeah, Mr. Zonkin still stepping up and scoring some goals, and obviously the major players in the league are still stepping up and scoring points. Top leaderboard at this time. If you're watching this a couple weeks from now, it might have changed, but right now you've got Leon Draisaitl, Tavares, McDavid, Stammer. They've all got 5 points. Connecting's got 5 points in a few games. So great start, and seeing some of these top end guys putting up points right away.
Yeah, connecting those Flyers too. That's another team that, as Walker knows, they played as Penguins. They're a team to watch too, man. They're going to be a really good team, and they got it all good front to back. Well built team, yeah. So watch it for them. But yeah, those young players you said finds you all at the top right there, as expected, as every year, right? They're just young studs, and they're just so great to watch. And that's a great thing about the Canadian division. You get to watch Draisaitl and McDavid. I don't know how many times the Leafs get playing, but at least 6 times or something.
8 or 9. I think they play them like 8 or 9 too. Yeah, I think they're all up. I think they play them a ton
times this year, so that's going to be awesome to actually get to watch that.
Yeah, I think. Well, I had Philly as my pick going in for that division.
Yeah.
And I went heavy Philly in my fantasy leagues as well. I think they're the real deal, and they're the team to beat.
Yep.
You think Philly's the team to beat?
I think so, out of that division.
In that division, man, they're there, man.
Yeah, they're like, there's no question that they're a good hockey club, and there's going to be a couple teams. I'm kind of hoping to see change. I think Buffalo looks like they're playing a little bit beher.
They played better.
Yeah, they're playing Philly, and again, I think they're up 2-0 right now. I really like you said, they're fast. They got first game didn't go well, but now they're back. Looks back to form. San Jose, actually, a team that we don't talk about very often. They've been kind of irrelevant the last couple of years, but they've started off pretty good.
And they're actually up right now in St. Louis too. No, in St. Louis, holy, getting blown out there by Colorado the other night, 8-0. You see that?
Yeah,
that's just a beating by him. And then I thought maybe tonight they're going to come out on DraftKings there. I went kind of hard St. Louis, thinking they'd respond pretty well, right? 8-0 beating a team like that, but down 2-0 right now after the first. That ain't looking too good there, but still lots of hockey. But
another team that I went heavy in fantasy with was the big guns in San Jose.
Yeah,
got Burns, Carlson, and Hurdle. So I mean, you look at that team last year. There's a lot of injuries, which I think played a big part in why they were where they were in the standings last year. So
yep, it could be an under.
That makes sense, and obviously with Evander Kane still being in the lineup, which is surprising after all the personal stuff and talking about the bankruptcy, but he's still in and threw a couple. Had 3 penalties in the game and threw a pretty nasty head check on Ekman Larson, and that didn't stand too well. They thought there should have been a suspension, but he's back on the ice tonight. I don't know if you guys saw the hit or not.
No, I didn't. I didn't see the hit. I seen that he was. They're going to look at it, but they didn't do anything about it.
Yeah. Did you see it walks?
Yeah, I saw it, and to me, they've got to have a little more consistency with the call on it, because was it Blouse in St. Louis?
Sammy Blah. I mean,
yeah, sorry.
He thought it should have been fine. So you saying 3 games?
And what did they get? I think it was 2.
Yeah, they got 2, and he said 3. Me and Walker didn't even think it should have been anything.
Oh yeah, boys.
And
yep, absolutely.
Bar said it, right? The first one of the year. It's like
you can't listen. You can't do it anymore. I mean, I don't know what these guys are thinking and why they're arguing. You just can't do it. And the guy's head was down. You can't I call it the Wendell Clark. You can't Wendell Clark these guys anymore.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? Like, their head's down, and that's also the responsibility of the player, but that's not how it reads in the rules. And when you're teaching hitting and you're teaching guys to hit nowadays, it's no different than the NFL. They force these guys to change the way they hit.
Absolutely.
Don't go for the head. And you know what? He could have easily avoided the hit and just went for the puck because his head was down.
Yeah.
I don't want that, and I don't want that for the game, but that's where it's going.
Yeah, absolutely.
We got talking a while ago, like the Quebec took out the fighting and checking for this year, correct? We got saying, like, it's terrible that they're taking out, but the hitting is basically gone in the game now anyways. Body contact, sure, but the hitting is, to me, is gone. Like any open ice hit, there's automatically a penalty for it because
Something.
it's a referee covering his own ass, basically.
Hit
Yeah.
it.
Well, not only that too. I mean, we know we've all got kids now, right? What if it was your kid on the ice? That's always the questions now, right? We become those type of snowflake type of parents, but that's really what it comes down to is, do you want to see these guys on the ice? Your husband, your wife, a family member, anybody laying on the ice unconscious, playing a sport. And the question is, they make a lot of money at it. So yeah, there's a hazard to it. If you're playing a, minor midget A and, there's back in the day when there was hitting and all of a sudden you got concussion problems because you're getting something rocked by some AAA kid who didn't care anymore. Right. You don't want these guys getting hurt, and it does translate.
Maybe I'm a little old school with it, but I mean, just the way I was brought up, you got your bell rung, which basically was what a concussion is now, but it was always be aware of who's on the ice, be aware where you are on the ice.
Yeah.
And I feel like that isn't taught anymore because, these kids don't check till midget hockey anymore.
That's just it, right? It's taught
right. So
you learn it so late. Yeah, like it's all kind of getting I don't know what word to put there, but getting
bubble wrapped,
messy, bubble wrapped. Yeah, it's just the way it's all translates from the young age or now the later age that you're teaching it or not teaching it, and it's just so hard. But eventually, like you said, finds they're trying to get it all out of the game, and it's eventually sad enough. It's probably going to be all out of the game one day, and
And the one thing about sports is entertainment. So, you're starting to lose the hitting and you're losing the fighting. So if I'm going to market the game from here on into people that want to become involved in hockey, what are the 3 things that you are going to market about the game which make it exciting?
Well, obviously, you want get your players involved with the fans. That's always a big one. Even me at still this age, it's exciting. You know what I mean? You tweet a player, let's say, and they respond, they like it, even, you know what I mean? Just little things like that, and then all the way into the community, do some community work, get involved, get kids to see you live in person and get, like, you know what I mean, instead of just on TV all the time, and just get involved. That's a big one, I think, your players. That's a big one for me. Walker, what do you think another big one is?
I think you go to the marketing aspect of it and you take a person who doesn't follow hockey and they don't follow players. I think you got to market the speed of the game and the skill set of what these young guys have now. Like back when we played, there was no picking the puck up on your stick and, doing the Michigan or like some of these moves where they started on their backhand and like pick it up on one hand now. Like, I don't think I could do that now trying to learn it. Right. So it's,
no way. It's in everybody's repertoire. And we had this argument the other day, and I'm glad we went and you said it walks the speed of the game. But when I talk about entertainment value and what the game of hockey is, and when you sell the game of hockey, is speed of the game a selling point? And I'm going to say what I'm going to say here. The best sports in the world, the most watched sports in the world, football, soccer, baseball.
Slow.
Slow. Right?
Yeah.
So is speed really a point of emphasis on the game that is going to increase viewership, participation in hockey? I'm not sold anymore. I was at one point, but when we got talking and arguing over a couple beers, all of a sudden you're just like, what is it about other games that are drawing, more fans or more revenue, and you see a decline in hockey registrations?
Yeah, see, that's a very good point when you say that, and you look at those sports because, like I said, slow. All those sports are slow. I mean, at the time, a football play ain't slow; it's fast. But the whole game in general, from play to play, is slow. Like
they play like 3 minutes out of a 60-minute game or something like that. I think that's what the total is, like 350 or something like that.
Baseball, same thing. Like the play is quick itself, but the game of baseball is slow. Everything is quick at the time, but all those games are slow, and they're very well viewed and the top sports in the world and watched.
So when we compare basketball and hockey, because I think that's the comparison of 5-on-5 and continuous play and pace of play.
Yep.
In basketball, there's always scoring.
Yeah.
Right? There's always some type of scoring or some type of play, where in hockey, that's not the case. Obviously, you're looking at 3-2 scores, 2-1. Yeah, you get the odd blowout where it's 5-4, there's quick scoring, but there's always this lull. And even watching tonight, before watching this Toronto game, I'm watching it and I'm going like, what is exciting about hockey now?
Yeah.
Like, what really draws fans? Because people who watch the game, like, they don't know how good, Connor McDavid is and how much skill it takes to, again, deke a guy out and then, shoot
very
top
hard
corner.
to see on TV versus live too, right?
Yeah, agreed, 100%. Like, Walks, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think speed is a selling point for that game. Like, but then again, you brought up the point where it's like somebody who doesn't know Connor McDavid and how fast he actually is.
Yeah,
it kind of makes it irrelevant. But yeah, I think somebody that even has the slightest sniff of hockey, mainly the Canadian or North U.S. audience, I think they know a very good amount of the game now and realize how much that speed is a factor in the game now.
Well, see, Findsy, I think, they've been trying to make it more exciting, right? Making the goalies' equipment smaller, trying to always tweak the net, they've always been talking about the net bigger and this bigger and that bigger. And I don't want them to tweak any of the traditional things, right? Like, I don't want them to touch the net, leave the net alone. The goalies, and it gets to a point, though, how much can you do to the goalies to make it unfair, though, right? Like, being a goalie myself, taking away your size or this and your size of your pads, now the size of your chest protector, and it's like less padding, and then it's just less. Do I want to be a goalie going in the NHL that you're basically going to get scored 4 or 5 times on a night just because they want entertainment value? Like, no, that's not really fun for a goalie. But
yeah, but at the end of the day, at the end of the day, it's
all about money.
It's all about money, right? It's all about entertainment. And speaking of entertaining, we got the man coming in here at right on time as scheduled. You can tell he's a coach, obviously, and he's played the game because the guy gets here on time when asked. Again, former NHLer, current coach, assistant coach with the Kingston Frontenacs, Mr. Luca Caputi. What's going on, sir?
Not much, guys. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Okay, thanks for coming in.
Oh, we're fine. Look at the pens. You're such a suck up, Walks. He knew to use.
I had that on last week.
He has it on most weeks. It's a good connection. Pens or Walks a Pens fan. I'm a Leafs fan. Well, you are too, Findsy, Leafs fan. So
nice jersey
we got tonight.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. And listen, thanks for joining us. Good to see you again. I was going to say I haven't seen you since we've been on the ice together. When's the last time you stepped on the ice?
It's been a while, probably like over a month now. So it's tough times, obviously, with what's going on in the world, and I don't really know how to describe the emotion that goes into this because we're used to grinding it out and having our team on a daily basis and having that family type feel. So it's been a little tough, but at the same time, I got 2 young kids, so it's been nice to be around them and build off our relationship.
Well, Luca, before you jumped on, we were just congratulating Walker on having his 17th kid, so we're pretty excited for him.
Congrats, 17. That's a big number.
Yeah. No, it's actually my 4th, but good one.
Oh boy, man! Congratulations.
So, Luca, I really want to talk about your playing days and coming up and where you're at now. But we were actually in the middle of discussion about the game of hockey and where it is currently. And I just want to briefly touch on the argument I had having a few beers with people that are hockey fans, but not, I would say, hockey people. And the argument was that they find that they're having a really tough time enjoying the game this year because they kind of miss the hitting. They miss a little bit more of the aggression, the fighting that's kind of gone by the wayside the last 5 years ago. And the question I posed to the boys was, if you're going to sell the game of hockey, Luca, and it was you, what would you sell about the game of hockey currently?
Well, I would say that the kids that are the talent pool of players is a lot higher than when I was playing, and then 15, 20 years ago, it's obviously a different game, and there's no like mincing words that way. At the same time, I just think that there's so much put into this skill development aspect, and I just see like a huge wave of talent where skill and speed and being able to play the game with those 2 intangibles and hockey sense are at the forefront. I'm not going to sit here and say it's right or wrong. Obviously, I'm a bigger player. I wasn't a bruiser by any means, but I grew up in a day and age where that came. That was obviously something that people looked for in a player, being a big physical strapping player with all those three intangibles I spoke about earlier. But at the same time, it's you got to look at it two ways. From a parent perspective, where obviously your kid's going to have that ability to play, whether he or she is big or small, and from the coaching standpoint, where obviously you want to have that physical element, but it's just not the way the game's going. So you have to be able to adapt, and that's part of you adapting to the culture of hockey and where it's at in 2021.
Luca, what do you think speed has to do with hockey? There's a little debatable talk we had. Some of us thought it was a big thing in hockey these days, but also some of us kind of thought it wasn't that big of a deal. Do you think marketing the speed of hockey, I mean, like how fast the players are and that kind of stuff, is a big thing to market, or what do you feel about that?
Well, it certainly wouldn't hurt you if you're able to play at a fast with pace and at a fast rate, especially from our standpoint, the way we look at our players in Kingston and where we want, who we want to bring into our organization. But at the same time, I think you have to have a hockey sense and be competitive. Competitiveness is at the forefront for me. If you don't compete, you're not willing to get better. You're not willing to look yourself in the mirror and try to be better every day and be able to look at your teammates at the end of the night and hold your cap on forward. And then you probably won't play for the Kingston Frontenacs at this stage. So, like I said, obviously the speed aspect, every team wants to play fast. Every coach wants their team to play fast. They want fast players, but at the same time, you have to bring it all together, and it all has to, kind of unify in one, like I said, with that competitive nature and the sense as well.
Absolutely. I kind of touched on the Kingston Frontenacs, and I wanted to save it for later, but I'm kind of excited about it. Shane Wright. Kind of tell us about this kid and how special he really is. And did you talk to him at all about being cut by Team Canada there, and how did he take that? And what's he got to say about that?
Well, yeah, we've talked about it, but it's not something that we really dwell on. He's absolutely the forefront of our culture, and he's a heck of a human being and a player. I don't obviously it was it was tough for him, and it should be, and it will be, and but at the same time, he knows who he is. One of the best human beings I've ever been around. I tell a story all the time. Last year, as a 15-year-old growing into a 16-year-old body and playing, he was able to not only manage the demands of playing in the OHL and the schedule, but also be an elite student at the same time. So that speaks to the character of him. That speaks to his upbringing, and I think that this is just something that he's going to use as motivation. And there's the sky's obviously the limit for him, and at the same time, it's just something that. Like I said, will motivate him moving forward into his draft year and well beyond that.
Absolutely, I can't wait to watch him.
When he goes to Team Canada camp next year, he's going to be
that's
absolute.
That's motivation, exactly like you said, Luca. He will, and can't wait to watch him for years to come. He's an exciting guy.
I just want to touch in on, we're talking players for Kingston here. I just want to talk in on a Norfolk County boy that you guys got, Maddox Callan.
Yeah.
I know, what's he like up in Kingston, and how's he fit in, and what do you think his that's what I'm looking for here.
The ceiling would be?
Ceiling,
yeah, there you go.
You guys too busy being a dad now. Ask simple questions.
It's not like he had a kid yesterday or anything.
Yeah, exactly. That's
right.
exactly.
It was yesterday. Congrats.
Yeah,
I got what I said.
Last night at 9, wasn't it? Last night 9.
Your wife must be a saint. It's 24 hours later and you're on the call. So
right. Dedication.
For Maddox, I mean, he fits into that young core, something that we're trying to build in Kingston, obviously with the identity and culture that we want to play with and the people we want to be. He's a big physical guy. He's able to shoot the puck. Really can play in a lot of situations for us. So we're looking forward to his progression into his 17-year-old year. Obviously, it's going to be a shortened season at this point. But when we do get going, he's going to be a focal point of that core, and we're really excited where he can go as a player and where he can help us as a team.
Cool.
That's awesome. What, Luca? Obviously, you came up through the Toronto Junior Canadians organization, putting up 100+ points.
Toronto Red Wings.
Red Wings.
Played for the Canadians for only 1
Who
year.
had the kid, Finety?
I was a Red Wing though, 6 years.
He was a Red Wing. Okay, so you switched over.
Sorry, I had to say it though.
No, hey, I like it. I like the switch. Who was your coach back then? When you came over from the Red Wings?
With the Junior Canadians, it was So I played. I played up a year. I played minor midget twice essentially. So I played 6 years with the Red Wings. My father was my coach, and then I played for Les Rogers and with the Vaughan Kings, and then Dan Cameron with the Junior Canadians.
Awesome, and obviously you get drafted. Talk a bit about how that process went, being drafted
to the OHL. Yeah, it was different. Obviously, I didn't know the things that I know now, and I wish I knew back then. And I think I would have been a better player for it at this stage. But I believe that I had hockey sense, and I wasn't in the greatest condition, to be honest with you. Everything came not easy for me, but naturally at that point. And then once you get to the next level and you're drafted into the OHL and trying to fight through those kind of adversities where you're a first-year player and not knowing, obviously you're not going to be given everything all at once. So fighting through that was difficult for me just because of, I wasn't in the greatest shape, to be honest with you. So learning those things and obviously having that sink in was a huge asset to where I went later on in my career. So I would say that I was gifted early on and able to play at a high level, but once reality sets in, you have to obviously be dedicated to getting better every day and being in shape and working towards your goals at a high rate and an everyday rate.
The one thing that I love looking at your stats is your first year with the Ice Dogs. You play your 48 games, you get 6 points. The year after that, you only play 32 and you get 3. You come back, and again, I'm not sure again, maybe you're referring to when you really got into good shape, you put up 65, and then going into your last year, you put up 111 points. I can tell you, I couldn't even tell you how many guys in their first 2 years only put up 9. There's no way they're putting up over 100 in their last year. That's crazy.
Sorry to interrupt. Luke, isn't the 51 goals and that 111 points still a record in the Ice Dog franchise?
I believe so, yes.
I think that's what I read up.
This guy made notes. He's Mr. Prepared always.
That guy.
Love it. But yeah, talk about that transition. Like, what was it? Was it getting in shape? Was it that mental side of things? Or
what happened actually in my second year is it's a great lesson for kids is don't mess around with skates. So just messing around after practice and actually our captain was chasing me around the room and he stepped on my foot, severed my tendons. I had to have emergency surgery right away. Yeah, so it's kind of like a gruesome injury. And then to be honest with you, I just that summer I actually just really I didn't know what was going to happen coming into camp. I didn't know if I was going to be in tier 2 or if I would make the team. I just I worked real hard and I actually got my confidence back that summer by playing ball hockey, believe it or not. I had a good summer. I was having fun scoring goals with my friends, working really hard, and worked out with a guy named actually Alex Petrangelo, and we were workout partners for the rest of our careers starting that summer. And then it just, to be honest, it was more of a confidence thing where you don't know how crazy confidence can be as a player. For sure, it's one of the driving forces of any player. And then just having some things fall in your lap where, there's a couple injuries early on in the year and I was producing. And next thing you know, your agent's calling you talking about potentially being a draft pick. And you just continue to kind of ride the wave, try to be humble, continue to work hard every day. And that was the mentality moving forward for, till today, really.
Absolutely. Look at, like we said, the 111 points. Have you ever thought about the weird number, the 111, because you were drafted 111th overall in your draft year to the Penguins? Just kind of, I kind of
Yeah.
find it weird.
Fascinating story, actually. You're almost half there, though.
Yeah.
Fourth round pick, 111th overall. That year, I finished fourth in scoring in the OHL with 111 points. Crazy.
Yeah,
Actually crazy.
Wow.
that's wild.
A
Wow.
couple guys above me and below me that are obviously way better players than I am. They're still playing, but like John Tavares ahead of me and Steven Stamkos right behind me.
Really, eh?
Crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
Unbelievable story. And
That's a
if
crazy-
you ask me if I ever thought that in my wildest dreams that would be reality, I would say no every day of the week.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I seen those two numbers. I was like, wow, that's just crazy there. But now you even say that, and that's even crazier. That's wild. Did you know? You have any idea that Pittsburgh was interested in you, or?
So what happened was you do a couple interviews, and then I was invited to the NHL Combine. So I can't remember the amount of interviews I had. It wasn't astronomical. It wasn't low either. It was probably midway. If I had to guess, maybe 15 to 18 interviews. And yes, Pittsburgh was one of them. And to this day, Jay Heinbuch, he's the director of amateur scouting for Pittsburgh, and he said he asked me a question about like my fitness level and why I was so lean as opposed to when I was first coming into the league 2 years earlier into the OHL, and I was a heavier set kid. And I told him about understanding the dedication and what it takes to be a pro or hopefully be a pro, and what it takes to play hockey at a high level, especially in the OHL. And he said, he asked me a question. He said, "So can I expect for your fitness scores to be in the top part of this combine?" And I said, yeah. And I don't think it was really high. I think there's 120 players there, but I think I was in the top 30. And then sure enough, on day 2, they called my name, and it was a great ride while it lasted.
Yeah, that's awesome. What was the weirdest question you got during the process? Yeah, that's what I was saying. Finds he loves these.
I had a couple of interviews where like the GM would be in the room, and I'm really invested in sports, so I like to think that I know who the GMs are for most teams, or kind of fit the eye test description.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I just remember Peter Chiarelli being in the Boston Bruins interview and didn't say a word, just sat in the back and just game faced me. He was intense, but didn't say a word. And not really intimidating, but just he was there observing, and that's just something I remember. Like he probably didn't have to be in my meeting. Trust your people, but at the same time, he's if he's going to call your name, he better know what he's getting in for. And that's something I've always thought about, how diligent they are at that level, and how much they care about everything. And it's a huge part of the game, and being detailed and confident is one of those things. But no crazy questions. But I just remember him being in the room and not saying a word.
Yeah.
Just talking about the combine there, because it's not talked about a whole lot. How does a young player's combine score really affect their draft and where they may go?
Great question, Walker.
Ooh, good question.
Great question, Walker.
I don't really know the answer, but I just remember it's a much bigger thing today than it was back then, just from a social media standpoint. When I was at the combine, I remember there was a VO2 test, which is on the bike, and then Wingate, it's called. And I just remember like they didn't post your scores on a screen or anything like that. They just watched. There was like anyone like can watch. So the scouts, GMs, they would just be there watching and taking notes kind of thing. Now I'm pretty sure the way it works is everything's like digital. So they get your scores. They don't have to be there. At the same time, I think for the high end guys, maybe it doesn't matter so much, but the guys that really separate themselves are maybe those fringe players. When you're talking about a late first round pick, a guy that's really dedicated to fitness, is in really great shape, shows those attributes on the ice, they might get the edge at the end of the day from the guy who's not physically there yet. That doesn't mean that kid is a bad kid or anything like that. It just means that they probably don't know. And that's part of, learning curve and being mature and becoming an adult is learning things that you don't know and becoming a man, essentially. So I would say in certain circumstances, it might alter, or might, push up a certain player forward, but I don't think that it's like the be all and end all, because at the end of the day, a lot of these kids are still trying to find themselves. And a lot of organizations, if they see potential, they'll try to work with you from the physical standpoint. If you have certain attributes that separate yourself, like hockey sense and the competitiveness and all that stuff while you're on the ice.
Yeah, they say that VO2 test is an absolute grind. Yeah. I've never done it.
It's different because once you get to your VO2 max, so your heart can only go at like so high. So once you're at your max, the test is over. So it could take you 3 minutes to get there, 4 minutes to get there, 43 minutes to get there, essentially. So it's a weird test. Yeah, it's just testing how much oxygen you can retain and how hard you can push yourself, how high you can really take your heart rate.
So is it better?
The wind gate is worse for me. It's 30 seconds, but it's like 3 hours. You drop the weight, and then it's like you're trying to push a car really with your legs.
Better have a higher number then?
VO2 for sure. Like the higher, like a good score would be like 60 plus. And then for the wind gate, what they're testing is there's no tension on the bike, so they see how high you can, how high you can keep your RPMs and wattage, and then how quickly it goes down. So if you can maintain it, the longer you can maintain your peak performance for, the better your score would be on that test.
Gotcha. That's
crazy. So you're playing now. So now you're with Pittsburgh. You end up playing 5 games that season. Talk about that dressing room. Obviously, a pretty elite dressing room walking into.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah. Crazy story. Quickly, I my flight was canceled the night before, so I didn't even know if I was getting called up. So I essentially got called up. Flight got canceled. I got stuck in Newark. Showed up for morning skate at 11 a.m. and the opposing team goes on the ice shortly thereafter. So everyone was dressed in full gear, and I walked in. They gave me the clap. So that was my grand entrance into the NHL. But yeah, obviously unbelievable locker room and some great people around there that I still am fortunate enough to call friends to this day, even in the short time I was there.
That's great. And you got a goal. Talk about that and with that. Yeah, first game, first snip, no problem.
Shift. Yeah, not a big deal.
Yeah, that was something else. Can't really describe it. Just got on the ice, kind of went to the net, got lucky enough to have that rebound on my stick, and what a story! What an unbelievable ride that was for a couple days there.
So you're up. 5 games. How well do they take care of you when you're up there? Like, what's that feeling like off the ice?
So when you're a call up, you're kind of living out of the hotel. But yeah, it's a different world. Really, you're on planes instead of buses, and you're eating good meals, great meals.
Thank you for the per diem. Yep.
Per diem on the road for sure is a huge part of it. Really, when you're a call up, there's not a lot of times, and I didn't get called up very often, maybe 3-4 times in my career, but you don't pay for the meals on the road. The guys that make the big bucks, they usually step up and pay for those. So it was unbelievable, and I have a lot of fond memories of being in Pittsburgh for sure with Ryan Whitney and Paul Bissonnette with Spin Chicklets and what they've been able to do, and fortunate enough to have those memories with those guys. They treated me really well when I was up there.
Yeah, big player guy. I like to talk about some players and stuff, but I want to talk about your first goal. Was that against Price?
Yes, it was
against Price. Yeah, what a goal.
There you go.
Anyway, still got the puck, or what did you do with that?
Yeah, it's right over there.
Nice. Yeah. Awesome. So big player guy. So obviously playing with Fleury, and I always love hearing the guys that play with Fleury. His pranks. He's a big prank guy. Did you get to witness any of those or be a part of any of those?
Not up there long enough to see any of those, to be honest with you. But I just remember being a real vibrant guy, funny guy, smiles a lot. Yeah. Pascal Dupuis was probably more of a prankster, if I had to guess.
Oh, really? Eh? Nice.
Yeah.
Speaking of goalies, Adam, you'll like this question because I've been wanting to ask it. So when you're up at the NHL level, and we've been talking quickly about practice and how hard goalies are required to work. Like these NHL goalies at practice, like what's their work ethic like? Like the players. Where's their level of compete?
Well, obviously the real good ones are have that competitive nature, and it's at a high level at all times. It's just such a difference, to be honest with you, trying to score on NHL goalies. It's almost really mind-boggling and really frustrating at times. Yeah,
kind of really know
how easy they make it look. They just stick their pad out or their glove out, and it's just routine for them, and you're just bearing down like it's Game 7. So a lot of the times it can be frustrating. So I would say to be in that league, you have to have a high compete level. You have to be real skilled, and I think for the most part, a lot of them have that intangible.
Do you really think size is a big deal with goaltenders?
Oh, for sure, it helps. I mean, I would think most of the goalies that are real successful are taller or longer, if you want to say so. Yep. That's not to say that you can't play, especially in the OHL, as an undersized or below average size goaltender. But at the same time, if you look at the NHL, a lot of the elite goalies are, for the most part, most of them are above a certain height.
Absolutely, yeah. And before we get moving on to other teams, I know Walk's probably got a million Pittsburgh questions.
That's right.
Throw a few at there, Walks.
Well, I've got his jersey sitting here, his rookie jersey at that. Sid, what's he like in the room, and how serious is he with workouts and eating and media attention and everything that his routines are with the game of hockey?
Well, for sure, he comes as advertised. One of the most competitive guys I've ever come across. Real elite in practice. Obviously, he's elite in games. Everyone sees that, but behind the scenes, he really works at making sure that he separates himself with his work ethic, his competitiveness. Obviously, he's super skilled and super smart. Can skate at an elite level, and he's got size too. So not undersized by any stretch of the imagination. So he's got it all. He's had it all going for him for a long time, and he's been able to do that because he just really hates to lose at anything, really. So that's one of the things that I drew away from him, was that he's never going to allow you to just have the puck, whether it's in practice or in a game. It's going to be a competitive nature whenever he's on the ice, and that's what he really brings to that the identity of that team and the culture within that organization, obviously for a long time now.
Yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere. Now, this may be an unpopular question, but I asked it earlier to the guys. Should Malkin have been traded for that team? Do you think that they're going to make the playoffs?
No. He should not be traded, and they will make the playoffs, yes.
Wow. All right. There you go, Wonks. There. Guy, not this guy. Fake it to make it type guy. Here we are. Yeah. So they make the playoffs. Okay. All right. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. I don't know.
I've got them just squeaking in, to be honest. That's where I put them.
They'll make it. They just championship pedigree. It doesn't go unnoticed. I know they've had they're 1-2, I think. I'm pretty sure at this point, but it's hard to it's hard to be negative against winners. All they've done is win. So until they lose.
True.
I'm riding the train.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I'll tell you, we all got the Philadelphia Flyers, but Buffalo smacking them up right now 4-0. So yeah, Laser with 2 snips. Curtis Lazar coming back, man. Yeah, I hope he listen, I had high hopes for that kid, man. I really hope he finds it. He's so good. I really hope he finds it.
They're so good, so young, and then they kind of just can't transition to that, make that jump. It's just it'd be nice to see. Really nice to see.
What about you guys, Luca? You got some pretty good players. Obviously, Shane Wright's number one, but who on the Kingston Frontenac's on their way up? You're like, you got to watch this kid play. Personally, before you answer, I like Billy Constantino. I really hope he makes an impact down the line.
Billy? Constantino?
Yeah, Billy's with you guys. Isn't he on the D side?
Did you check your stats?
No, I thought Billy was there now.
Yeah.
No, wait, he's on the Sioux. I'm an idiot. Sorry. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. No. I screwed up. I was thinking of a.
No, we actually have Chase Costantino, so I thought maybe. Yeah,
that's
we have high hopes for him.
You know what? That's it.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I think we have a real great young core and a team that's gonna fit. Right in. We have a new head coach in Paul McFarland who's gonna play a certain way, and we have a lot of players that are going to fit right into that identity, and real high on especially on the back end. We got some real players that I think are going to take a huge step, and Jake Murray and Tommy Budnick, who's a 16-year-old. We have obviously Lucas Perrick returning, Evan Brand, and Chase Constantino as well, who like I said, we have high hopes for up front. We have Arcuri, who's entering his draft here, and I think is going to be a player that has a potential to be a scorer or above average.
Francesco, he's really good. I like him a lot.
Above average scorer in our league. Jordan Frasca, who does it right every shift. Obviously, Shane's a huge part of that, and the way he can play and dictate the pace of the game and his elite level of competitiveness is going to obviously play into the mold of our team. And we got a bunch of forwards, Maddox Callens, Paul Ludwinski, we just took 5th overall. We have real high hopes for him. He's a real competitive guy, elite skater, and we're hoping that he can come in and make an impression early on. We have Martin Chromiak, just drafted by the LA Kings, who came in January and really, from a line rush standpoint, really separate us from other teams in the league. And Zaid Wisdom, this kid's fought every adversity he can as a young adult, young boy, and he's a huge part of where we're going, especially the way he competes on a shift-to-shift basis. And I think the sky's the limit for him and our team moving forward.
Nice, I love those stories. I want to go back to your career and go back to my beloved Leafs, your first trade. Kind of what was that process like, going through all that trade process, and what was it like being, I don't know, did you grow up being a Leafs fan? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And what was it
Yeah.
What was it like being traded to your team growing
up? Extremely overwhelming and obviously unbelievable at the same time. Still get butterflies thinking about that first game in it's called Scotiabank Arena now, but it was the Air Canada Center. It was unbelievable. A lot of people on hand for that, and it's just something I think about all the time and how that kind of came to fruition. And I got to, a lot of people dream, and I got to live my dream. So working on part 2 of that right now, and at the same time, I can hold my hat on, those type of experiences.
You got an assist that game as well, your first game.
Yeah, that was in Boston. The first game at home though was against Boston. Actually, that was awesome. We won in overtime. That was
perfect.
Coolman in overtime. That was a cool game.
Yeah, and being a Leafs fan then and being a Kings, I don't know, did you get to see it or work with Dougie too much or pick his brain while he was there before he left?
Yeah, so Doug Gilmour is obviously my favorite player. He would be a part of the team that hired me, him and Darren Kiley. And I got to spend a lot of time with Dougie over the last two years, and someone who obviously puts a lot of trust in his staff, and he's there to obviously give some feedback when needed, and obviously be with all his experiences both as a coach and as a player, just give you that type of support if you ever need it. So unbelievable experience. It's not often, like I said, you get to work for your idol as a kid. So it was something special for sure for the last couple of years.
And one more quick one before I throw her back to Wooks. Being in Toronto, Burke was the GM there, correct?
Yes.
What was he like as a man? Is he as rough and tough as he presents himself on TV, or is he actually pretty good? I assume he's a pretty good man.
No, he comes as advertised, but I'm awesome. Like, has time for everyone. I think that'll very professional in the day-to-day operation. And one thing I always said, admired and think about all the time is that there was no gray area. He told it to you straight and had reasonings for whatever he thought, and there's nothing more you could really ask for as a player, good or bad, is being upfront like that.
Do you remember any things that maybe that people have said to you, like coaches or even Birkin from that team, that kind of stuck with you? Like any special sayings that you might have brought with you along with your coaching?
Oh, that's a good question. Kind of put me on the spot, but I just remember our mantra kind of in Pittsburgh was they had like this triangle, and it was work ethic, accountability, and respect. And that's just something I've always remembered since that day. It was on the back of our T-shirts, and something that I hold near and dear to my heart, to be honest.
There you go, Walks. Make a couple T-shirts for the Dover boys.
Yeah, we'll get her going. Yeah. So, Luca, just back into your coaching, like you said, Berkey kind of comes as advertised. Kind of what is Luca as advertised for the Kingston Frontenacs to a player?
Well, I would hope they would think that I'm passionate, because I tend to be. Just someone that obviously tries to, in every way, to make each player better, and I really believe in building relationships with each and every one of them, because they're not all the same. They're all different. They come from different stories, different backgrounds, and being able to have that type of relationship where you build a connection, and then really you can once they respect you, they trust you, and once you understand that, you can turn up the volume, and they understand that it's more or less a garner towards them, but what your best interest is for them and the team at the same time. So I would think that I would hope that a lot of the players that have come across myself would say that, and that's something that I try to build every day.
Listen, make no mistake, fellas. I've seen him. He can still play. Like, he's ripping it on these junior goalies. They selling on the ice and making them look bad. He's working with the goalie. He's working with the goalie coach out there. Oh yeah, you should see him go. He's still got it.
Well, that's just more me trying to feel young.
Oh, you're telling me. So, Lucas, so now you're coaching. What are your kind of aspirations over the next few years? Are you looking to possibly get a head coach job one year, take over a team?
Well, to be honest with you, just in this industry, you just got to work on winning and developing, and that's something that I think is it's twofold. I mean, you're always going to have a job as long as you're developing. At the same time, you got to win, so you got to find a way to have that healthy median. I would love to be a head coach. At the same time, I'm really focused on where we're going here in Kingston. I'm so proud of a lot of the things we've been able to do here, and I'm really excited for what we can possibly become and possibly do. So, like I said, it's a day-to-day process. Obviously, you want to be in a position where you can, your career can progress, but at the same time, you want to, obviously focus in the day-to-day operation and be in the now as opposed to the future.
You've done a lot of traveling in your times. What's the best stopover city you've ever been in? Best place to grab a bite to eat or go out, have a drink?
New York City.
New York?
Yeah.
Lived in Sweden though.
Yeah, that's I was gonna say.
Tough to beat that.
2
years in Sweden.
Tough to beat
Sweden.
Yeah, what makes Sweden so special? Everyone always says that's how great Sweden is, but you've lived
culture. Just the culture, just humble people that genuinely care about one another. Not in a hurry. No one's in a hurry to do anything there. It's just mellow, and obviously they'll crank up the volume if you're not winning games when you're on the team. But at the same time, when you are winning, what a place! Just built a lot of great relationships there. Some of my best friends and people that we hold, myself and my family hold near and dear to our heart. We're from those 2 years in Sweden. So I wish I could turn back the clock and go back, but it's not feasible.
Yeah. Did you get to travel much?
No, but yeah, Oskarshamn and Västerås is really close to Stockholm, so we had a lot of imports on our team. So there was half the team.
Really?
How many Canadians were on that team at the time? They probably weren't that many.
North Americans, I would say 8 or 9 at least.
Oh, okay.
The 1 year, and then the next year we only had 3. But Evan McGrath, one of my best buddies, is Doug Gilmore's son-in-law, married Madison Gilmore.
Really?
So yeah, crazy how everything ends up working out, right?
Yeah, that is crazy. Did you get to travel much over there, Luca, or see any other like countries or anything like that?
We took a trip to Norway in training camp in Oskarshamn. That was awesome. Oslo, one of the nicest. That got to be one of the nicest places in the world. Extremely expensive. Not that I'm cheap or anything, but at the same time, mind blowing how expensive things are just in general, just basic stuff. But at the same time, one of the nicest places I've ever been to. So that was one of the coolest stops I've been on.
Nice. I wanted to touch on the coaching there. Back to coaching. You had Bilesma and Reardon at the same time as coaches. How were they as a team? And did you ever think they'd get shots in the NHL like they did?
Yeah, it's funny. So Dan was the head coach, and then Todd was the assistant, and we played a 3-3. I had just got back actually from my first call up. Crazy story. So we played the 3-3. We won the game on the Sunday afternoon, and they called us back to the rink, and they made the announcement that Dan was going up and Todd was taking over in Wilkes-Barre. So it was kind of like a whirlwind there. But at the same time, Dan's one of the most passionate, smartest coaches I've ever come across. I also had Todd Richards, who I have a ton of respect for. I've never seen in-game adjustments in my life, like the way the guy sees the game. It's incredible.
Coach?
Yeah, yeah, he's up there for sure. One of the ones I respect the most for sure. And then Reard's, it was a tough scenario for him because he kind of went from being obviously the assistant to the head coach, and in season. So it's a different role at the same time, but obviously real smart guy, has had a heck of a career and continues to progress. And the way they, I just really admire the culture there and the way they develop players and their staff. It's just something that goes unsaid. It's like a coach's factory there and a player's factory. They always build from within. They always seem to have like these players that are coming up from within their organization that they develop, and same from the coaching side. So it's something that I've always thought highly of.
Awesome. Well, we're almost wrapping up here, Luca, and we can't thank you enough for your time. But a couple rapid fires before you go. First one, who's winning the cup this year?
Vegas.
Ooh, I like it. Favorite coach you ever had?
Todd Richards.
Best thing Todd Richards ever said to you?
Life's all about choices.
I like it.
Good one. Favorite player, current and past?
Doug Gilmore, past, current Sidney Crosby.
Nice.
Points leader by the end of this NHL season.
Austin Matthews.
Nice.
I like it. Well, listen.
They just want a big 3-1 win.
I'm a huge Leaf fan too. You're such a homer, Styles. Jesus Christ.
Oh, big win.
But you could have said Zach Hyman, and you would have been all over it.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, I'd like to thank our guest so much, Luca Caputi, for taking the time to join Off the Puck Hockey today. Make sure you follow Luca on Twitter, LPuti17. Just a reminder, Off the Puck Hockey can be seen every Saturday night, 9 p.m. on Rogers TV, Channel 20. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube at Off the Puck Hockey. I'm your host, Tyler Fines, and with me, as always, my boys, co-hosts, Adam Styles, Mikey Walks, our producer, Matt Huddle, behind the scenes, making the magic happen, and Marty Zylstra for providing our theme music. This is Off the Puck Hockey. Let's go. Hey, thanks for coming on, fella.
Hey, no problem. Anytime, guys. You have a great night. I appreciate your time and the opportunity to be on your platform. Anything you ever need, you don't hesitate to reach out. Okay, guys.
Oh, you
Awesome.
talked to Johan at all? You spoke with him at all?
Yeah, he's one of my good buddies. Yeah.
Yeah, how's he doing? I quickly messaged him the other day, seeing how he's doing. Says
Yeah, he's in Davos. Bit of a tough year. His girls are back here, but he's grinding through it. He's had a hell of a career to start, and he's got big things on the horizon, no doubt.
Yeah, he's awesome. I love him. So yeah, I hope he's doing well. But you guys aren't skating. They're not even. Are they open up the factory at all to you?
No, I haven't been on the ice in a long time, and before Christmas for sure. I help out at Everest Academy. It's just